Integrity. It's one of those words we hear often but rarely stop to think about deeply. It's not just about telling the truth or following the rules. It's about who you are when no one is watching. It's about aligning your actions with your values, even when it's inconvenient or costly. Integrity is the foundation of a life that is real, meaningful, and unshakable. When you think about the concept of integrity, it's tempting to limit it to honesty. And while honesty is a part of it, integrity goes much deeper. It's about consistency, being the same person in private as you are in public. It's about aligning your inner world with your outer actions. But here's the real question. Are you living a life of integrity right now? And if not, what's holding you back? Every decision we make shapes who we are. Every choice to act with or without integrity leaves a mark on our character. When we choose integrity, we're not just doing the right thing in a moment. We're building a foundation for the rest of our lives. Think about that. Every time you choose to keep your word even when it's hard, you're strengthening your character. Every time you stand by your values even when it costs you something, you're becoming a person who can be trusted. What kind of foundation are you building with your choices today? There's a reason integrity is so powerful. It creates trust. And trust is the currency of every meaningful relationship, whether it's with your friends, your family, your co-workers, or even yourself. When you act with integrity, people know they can rely on you. They know your words aren't just empty promises, but reflections of your character.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more topics you love.
And here's the key. When people trust you, opportunities open up in ways you can't predict. Integrity is like a magnet. It draws the right people, the right situations, and the right outcomes into your life. But let's not pretend it's easy. Acting with integrity often means taking the harder path. It means telling the truth when a lie would be more convenient. It means admitting when you've made a mistake, even if it's embarrassing. It means standing up for what you believe in, even if it's unpopular. And sometimes it means sacrificing something you want because you know it's not aligned with your values. Here's something to think about. What's the last decision you made that required integrity? Maybe it was a small choice, like returning extra change you were accidentally given. Or maybe it was something bigger, like speaking up about something you knew was wrong, even though it came at a personal cost. How did that choice feel in the moment? And how did it shape the way you see yourself now? Integrity isn't just about what you do, it's about who you're becoming. Every time you choose integrity, you reinforce the person you want to be. You create a pattern, a habit, a lifestyle. And over time, those choices add up. They build momentum. They create a legacy. But the opposite is also true. Every time you compromise your integrity, you're shaping a different kind of character. You're creating cracks in your foundation. So who are you becoming through the choices you're making today? Here's the truth. Integrity is tested in the small moments. It's not just about the big dramatic decisions. It's about how you act when no one is watching, how you treat people who can't do anything for you, and how you handle the little temptations that come your way every day. Integrity is built or lost, one small choice at a time. But it's about your relationship with yourself. Can you look in the mirror and feel proud of the person you see? Can you go to sleep at night knowing you acted in alignment with your values? When you live with integrity, you create a kind of inner peace that can't be shaken. But when you compromise your integrity, you create an inner conflict that's hard to ignore. Think about this for a moment. What's one area of your life where you've been out of alignment? Maybe it's a habit you've been justifying, a promise you've broken, or a value you've been neglecting. What would it look like to realign that area with integrity? What's stopping you from doing it? Integrity has a ripple effect. When you live with integrity, it doesn't just change your life, it changes the lives of the people around you. It inspires trust, respect, and admiration. It sets an example for others to follow. And here's the amazing thing. When you act with integrity, you give others permission to do the same. You create a culture of honesty, accountability, and authenticity. But here's the hard truth. Living with integrity often requires courage. It means standing firm when the pressure is on, resisting the temptation to take shortcuts, and being willing to face the consequences of doing what's right. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Because when you live with integrity, you can walk through life with your head held high, knowing you're living in alignment with who you were created to be. Do you want to be remembered as someone who compromised to get ahead? Or as someone who stood firm even when it was hard? Integrity isn't just about today. It's about the story you're writing with your life. And here's the beautiful part. It's never too late to start rewriting that story. Integrity is powerful because it doesn't exist in isolation. Every choice you make has a ripple effect that extends far beyond the moment. When you choose integrity, it doesn't just shape your life, it influences the people around you, sometimes in ways you'll never fully see. And that's why every decision matters. Think about the last time you witnessed someone act with integrity. Maybe it was a friend who stood up for the truth when it was uncomfortable. Maybe it was a stranger who returned something valuable that didn't belong to them. What did that moment stir in you? Acts of integrity have a way of inspiring us, reminding us of what's possible when we hold ourselves to a higher standard. And here's the thing. You have the same power to inspire others. One choice can set off a chain reaction. When you live with integrity, you create an environment where others feel safe to do the same. People trust you, rely on you, and look to you as an example. Your integrity gives them permission to act with integrity in their own lives. Have you ever thought about how your decisions might be shaping the choices of the people around you? But the ripple effect works both ways. When we compromise our integrity, even in small ways, it sends a message. It can erode trust, create confusion, and encourage others to lower their standards. That's why it's so important to protect your integrity, even in the smallest decisions. What kind of ripple are you creating with the choices you're making today? Integrity isn't just about avoiding what's wrong. It's about pursuing what's right. It's about being proactive, taking initiative, and doing the right thing even when it's inconvenient. Think about a time when you went out of your way to help someone, not because you had to, but because it was the right thing to do. What did that feel like? And how did it impact the person you helped? When your actions align with your values, you develop a kind of inner strength that helps you weather life's storms. You know who you are and what you stand for, and that clarity becomes a source of stability. Even when circumstances are challenging, you can move forward with confidence, knowing you're staying true to yourself. But let's be honest, integrity will cost you something. It might cost you time, convenience, or even opportunities. There will be moments when doing the right thing feels harder than taking the easy way out. But here's the truth. The cost of compromising your integrity is always greater than the cost of protecting it. Compromise might bring temporary relief, but it leaves a lasting wound. Integrity might feel costly in the moment, but it creates a foundation you can build your life on. When you think about your own life, what's the hardest decision you've ever made to protect your integrity? Maybe it was walking away from a situation that didn't align with your values. Maybe it was speaking up when it would have been easier to stay silent. Whatever it was, how did that decision shape who you are today? Integrity isn't something you stumble into. It's something you choose moment by moment, day by day, and each choice builds on the one before it. That's why even the small decisions matter. The way you handle a small challenge today might be preparing you for a much bigger test tomorrow. Are you building the kind of character that will stand firm when the pressure is on? Here's something worth considering. What do you want people to say about you when you're not in the room? That's not about vanity, it's about legacy. Integrity shapes your reputation, and your reputation shapes the opportunities and relationships that come into your life. But more than that, your integrity shapes the impact you leave behind. What kind of legacy are you building with the choices you're making right now? When you act with integrity, you also create space for authenticity. You don't have to pretend, hide, or wear a mask. You can show up fully as yourself because you're living in alignment with your values. And when you show up authentically, it encourages others to do the same. Think about a time when someone's authenticity inspired you. What did it feel like to be in their presence? That's the kind of presence you create when you live with integrity. Integrity also creates clarity. When you're clear about your values and committed to living by them, decision-making becomes simpler. You don't have to second-guess yourself or weigh every option endlessly. You know what's right and you act on it. That kind of clarity is freeing. One of the most powerful things about integrity is that it's not dependent on circumstances. It doesn't matter whether life is going well or falling apart. You can choose to act with integrity in any situation. And when you do, you create consistency in your life. You become someone who can be relied on no matter what. Think about how rare that is in today's world and how much impact you could have by simply being consistent in your integrity. So here's the challenge. What's one choice you can make today to live with greater integrity? Maybe it's keeping a promise you've been putting off, admitting a mistake you've been avoiding, or standing up for something you believe in. Whatever it is, take this step. Because every choice you make, no matter how small, contributes to the ripple effect you're creating in the world. Living with integrity isn't about being perfect, it's about being honest with yourself, with others, and with God. It's about owning your mistakes, learning from them, and choosing to move forward in a way that reflects your values. Integrity doesn't require you to get everything right. It requires you to be real. And that's what people are drawn to, not perfection, but authenticity. Think about the legacy you're building right now. Every decision you make, every interaction you have, and every word you speak is contributing to that legacy. It's easy to get caught up in short-term thinking. But integrity forces you to take the long view. It asks you to think about what really matters, not just today, but 10 years from now or 50. What kind of relationships are you building? Trust is the foundation of every meaningful connection, and integrity is what makes trust possible. When you live with integrity, people know where they stand with you. They don't have to second-guess your motives or wonder if your words align with your actions. You become a person they can rely on, and that reliability creates bonds that are strong and lasting. But integrity isn't just about how others see you. It's about how you see yourself. When you live out of alignment with your values, it creates tension. That tension shows up as stress, frustration, or even shame. But when you choose integrity, you create harmony within yourself. You can move through life with a sense of peace, knowing that your actions reflect who you truly are. Have you ever felt the weight of living out of alignment with your values? Maybe it was a decision you made under pressure, or a moment when you let fear or convenience override your convictions. How did that feel? And more importantly, how did you move forward from it? Integrity isn't about never falling. It's about how you rise after the fall. It's about learning, growing, and committing to do better next time. Integrity also gives you strength. When you know who you are and what you stand for, you're less likely to be swayed by external pressures. You don't have to chase approval or bend to fit into situations that don't align with your values. You can stand firm even when it's uncomfortable, because your sense of self isn't tied to what others think. It's tied to something deeper. But integrity isn't always easy. There will be moments when it feels like a sacrifice. There will be times when doing the right thing comes at a cost. Maybe it's a missed opportunity, a strained relationship, or a loss of comfort. But here's the truth. The cost of integrity is never as high as the cost of compromising it. Every time you choose integrity, you're investing in something far more valuable than temporary gain. You're investing in your character. What's one area of your life where integrity is being tested right now? Maybe it's a situation at work, a conflict in a relationship, or a decision you've been avoiding. What would it look like to choose integrity in that situation? And what would it mean for your future if you did? Living with integrity also impacts the opportunities that come your way. When people see that you're trustworthy, consistent, and true to your word, they want to work with you, support you, and be around you. Integrity opens doors that dishonesty never could. And those doors aren't just about personal success, they're about creating impact. When you live with integrity, the opportunities you attract aren't just for you, they're for the people you're meant to serve. But here's something worth thinking about. What happens when no one else notices your integrity? What happens when the right choice is made in silence, with no applause or recognition? That's when integrity is tested most deeply. It's easy to act with integrity when others are watching, but true integrity is about what you do when no one else will ever know. And those unseen choices, they're the ones that define who you really are. Integrity is also deeply tied to purpose. When you live in alignment with your values, you're able to step into the life you were created for. You're not held back by fear, guilt, or confusion. You're free to move forward with clarity and confidence. And when you live with purpose, you inspire others to find their own. Your integrity doesn't just impact you, it creates a ripple effect that can change lives. What would your life look like if integrity guided every decision you made? How would your relationships change? How would your work change? How would you change? Living with integrity isn't about perfection, it's about direction. It's about choosing moment by moment to align your actions with your values. even when it's hard. Integrity doesn't guarantee an easy life, but it does guarantee a meaningful. It creates trust, builds resilience, and sets you on a path of purpose and impact. It allows you to live with a sense of peace, knowing that you're not just chasing success, you're building something real, something lasting, something that truly matters. When you look back on your life, what will you be proud of? It won't be the shortcuts you took or the compromises you made. It will be the moments when you chose integrity, even when it was hard. It will be the relationships you built, the trust you earned, and the impact you had on the people around you. That's the legacy of integrity, and it's a legacy worth building, one choice at a time. Integrity is the anchor that holds your life steady. No matter how rough the waters, it keeps you grounded in who you are, regardless of external circumstances. When everything around you feels uncertain or unstable, integrity gives you clarity and confidence. It reminds you that your value doesn't come from what you achieve or what others think. It comes from staying true to what you know is right. But let's not sugarcoat it. There will be moments when acting with integrity feels like the harder choice. Maybe it's walking away from a situation that conflicts with your values, even if it means losing something you wanted. Maybe it's speaking the truth when silence would have been easier. These moments test you, but they also refine you. They shape your character and prove to you and to the world that you're someone who can be counted on. Think about a time when you faced a difficult decision that required integrity. What did it feel like to make the right choice even when it wasn't the easy one? That's the power of living with integrity. It gives you a kind of inner strength that no external reward or validation can match. When you act with integrity, you're not just making a choice, you're reinforcing your identity. Integrity also has a way of simplifying your life. When you're committed to living authentically, you don't waste time second-guessing your actions or worrying about what others might think. You know what matters to you and you act accordingly. That clarity frees up so much mental and emotional energy that you can use to focus on what really matters. Have you noticed how exhausting it is to live out of alignment with your values? Whether it's keeping up appearances, justifying decisions you know aren't right, or managing the fallout of broken trust, the cost of compromising integrity is always higher than the cost of maintaining it. When you choose integrity, you cut through all of that noise. You create a life that's simpler, cleaner, and more focused on what truly matters. One of the most beautiful things about integrity is that it creates freedom. When you're not hiding, pretending, or compromising, you're free to show up fully as yourself. You don't have to worry about being found out or living with the tension of a divided life. You can stand tall, knowing that who you are on the inside matches who you are on the outside. That kind of freedom is rare and it's worth everything. But integrity doesn't just affect you, it ripples out into every area of your life. When you act with integrity, you build trust with the people around you. You become someone they can rely on, someone whose words and actions align. And trust is the foundation of every meaningful relationship. It's what allows connections to deepen, teams to thrive, and communities to grow. What kind of relationships are you building? Are they based on trust, respect, and authenticity? Or are they held together by convenience, appearances, or unspoken compromises? Integrity invites you to choose the former, even when it's harder, because real relationships built on trust, are what make life rich and meaningful. Integrity also gives you influence. People are drawn to those who live authentically, who do what's right even when it's not easy. When you act with integrity, you set an example that inspires others to do the same. You become a person who elevates the standards of those around you. What kind of influence are you having on the people in your life? How are your choices shaping their perception of what's possible? And here's the thing. Integrity doesn't have to be loud or flashy to make an impact. Sometimes the most powerful acts of integrity are the quiet ones. Keeping a promise no one else remembers, standing by your values when no one else is looking, or choosing kindness when it would be easier to look the other way. These moments might seem small, but they add up. They create a ripple effect that reaches farther than you might ever know. What would your life look like if integrity guided every decision you made? How would it change your relationships, your work, your sense of self? And what kind of legacy would it leave behind? These aren't theoretical questions, they're practical ones, because every choice you make today is shaping the story you'll tell tomorrow. Integrity isn't just a value, it's a way of life. It's a commitment to show up as your best self even when it's hard. It's a choice to prioritize what's right over what's easy, what's authentic over what's convenient. And when you make that choice, over and over again, you create a life that's not just successful but meaningful. A life that reflects who you truly are and who you're meant to be. Your integrity is your compass. It's what keeps you aligned with your values, your purpose, and your potential. It's what allows you to navigate life's challenges with confidence and clarity. And it's what makes you a person who not only achieves, but inspires. So let integrity guide you. Let it shape your decisions, your relationships, and your legacy. Because a life built on integrity is a life that truly lasts.